all, I'm your host Cryptic and welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been ages, months since my last upload. My PC finally kicked the bucket and I've been on the market waiting to buy a new setup at the right time, and I believe I did. And sort of leads into the topic of this video of what is the best way to purchase a new laptop in 2025, especially with the release of the 50 series cards and AI being everywhere and all that. I'm going to try and keep this around 10 minutes long and sort of help you guys with what I went through for the last 2+ years to buy one. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, what did I end up purchasing? I've got an MSI Raider, 17-inch. It has NVIDIA RTX 4090 graphics, Intel Core i9 14900HX, 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte of NVMe storage, Wi-Fi 7, and all the bells and whistles, right, including the RGB. So I ended up purchasing that because it was at the right price. I got it from Costco here locally in Australia. It was the last one on clearance, pretty much half price, and I went for it. I'll throw pictures on the screen for you guys and a sort of link in the description box if you want to see this more specs and details, if they still got it listed there. But yeah, absolutely love it. And I ended up going with the 40 series. I decided not to wait. I believe I purchased this a week or so, about a week before the 50 series cards were due to come out. But based on reviews and everything from all the publications and YouTubers, I was like, no, hell no. The first step that I can give is that know your budget. Is your budget $1,000, $2,000, whether dollars, $3,000, right? My goal was to aim for something under $4,000 Australian. You got to understand, $4,000 Australian, that's like barely over $2,000 US. So yeah, things are expensive here, but that is the way it is since we import everything. But that was my budget, and I needed something that could do gaming, but also video editing and pretty much a power user sort of thing. I didn't want to create a laptop. I didn't want any soldered memory. I wanted to be able to upgrade storage and RAM and the Wi-Fi card in the future and all that sort of stuff, right? And adequate cooling. I wanted a portability, but also a desktop replacement, and I feel like I got that with the Raider. So knowing your budget and knowing exactly what your use case is and what you need out of your tool, out of your laptop, is the key to any purchase. The other key for me, of course, with the budget, right? I've used to have the whole, FOMO thing, fear of missing out, latest and greatest. If I don't have that, I'm falling behind. What I have is not good enough. But eventually you realize that whatever naming scheme or that they give, or whatever marketing spin they give it, that's not always the case. Especially if you've seen with the 50 series, the 5070, 80, and to a degree the 5090, really disappointing. I mean, yeah, the 5070 is 4090 performance at less than half the price or whatever it was. That ended up being the biggest joke so far of 2025. I'm sure we've got more on the way. But that's what it was for me. It was looking at what was available, what technology from the 50 series is coming down to the 40, and did I really need frame gen, and how did it really work? And latency is a big thing for me. I can usually put up with, frame rate that's lower, but if latency is really down and that causes motion sickness for me in games, then it's a no-no. And unless the game's already running at 60+ frames and then you're adding that on top, the latency is just too bad for me, for my own experience. So frame gen was not a real important thing. DLSS is, especially, as you know me, I'm a PS5 guy. The upscaling to 4K in the PS5 games, they do it really well. In most cases, when you're not pixel peeping, you can barely tell the difference between native and upscaled, especially in motion. In the action of playing the game, you won't really notice it, at least in my experience. But I do notice frames a lot, dropped frames, lower frame rates, and all the timings and latency. That's a big thing that I'm quite sensitive to. So that was all a factor for me. So getting this at pretty much $3,500, I managed to haggle them from the price that you're seeing in the link and on the screen for this laptop, from I think it was $3,999 down to $3,500 because it was their last unit. I felt like I got the deal of the century, at least here. I think that equates to about $2,000, $2,200 US for a 4090, pretty much decked out. It is a quad HD screen. I wasn't really fussed about the mini LED or 4K screen, especially at 17 inch. The pixel density is so high, and the IPS, the viewing angles are great. Brightness is fantastic. In a bright room or dimmed, it didn't matter. Everything is seen with clarity, accurate color reproduction, etc., etc. So it ticked all that for me, for the gaming that I do, for the content creation, for the power user that I am. Perfect. And that's the thing that I would recommend of everyone. Do you really need the 50 series? If not, you can save so much money right now getting your laptop on sale, because they're clearing them out. You got to understand, Nvidia supposedly stopped production of the 40 series cards mid to late last year. So they're scarcer now, but if you're willing to look for the deals and shop, your Lenovo's, your Asus, your MSI's, your Gigabytes, whatever brands you have a preference to, and get those deals, right? You're gonna save yourself so much money, and I guarantee you, if you spend, let's say, double the money getting, let's say, a 5080 and being disappointed with the performance because you could have gotten a 4090, which is way better than a 5080. Right, desktop and on laptop, for half the price, you're gonna be like, I've wasted so much money. I could have used that money for anything else. So many other things, right? Controller for games that need it on PC, because you're on PC, right? You can use any input device you want. Headphone, webcam, mic, any keyboards, whatever, right? A second SSD. The Raider here that I have has a second slot for internal storage for Gen 4 or Gen 5 M.2. So yeah, save money to get something like that and expand the storage more. So that is a huge thing. Also, look at the fact that, hey, they've got, let's say, a 4060 is what you're looking for, and they've got the 4070 for extra $100, $200. Go for the 4070. You're future-proofing yourself so much more for not much more money. Same if you're looking at a 47, but the 4080 is only another $100, $200, and everything else is pretty much the same. They've just got the 4080 in there. Go with that if you can. Now, I understand everyone's got to be tight to the budget. They might not have a lot of units left, so you've got to get what you can get. But if you have the luxury and the luck to be able to do that, I highly recommend it. Future-proof yourself. My old system running a GTX 780 and i7, what was it? Devil's Canyon CPU, Intel CPU. 12 years later, finally kicked the bucket, right? This 6+ years easy. It's getting a whole console cycle and then some out of me, this thing, before it ever gets replaced, or even the thought of it even hits my mind. I baby the stuff I do. I know people say, this always fails, MSI always fails, or Lenovo's suck, or Asus, they have problems. Look after your stuff. Be a little bit tech savvy. Learn. Don't be afraid to ask help when you think something's wrong with your unit to, maintain it. And just baby it. Look after it. Don't trash it. Keep it clean. Clean the dust out of it regularly, at least once every 6 months, or at least once a year if you're super lazy. Take care of your stuff. They will look after you, and that will last an eternity. But yeah, that was the huge thing. Last 2 years, just looking at prices going up and up with inflation. As you've seen, things are blown out of proportion pricing-wise wherever you are in the world. Whether you're in the US, here in Australia, in Europe, Asia, anywhere. So expensive. And depending on the market you're in, sometimes you get the nerfed product, right? For whatever reason. And it kind of sucks. You see these reviews of laptops and configurations, but they're not available in your region, and you really want it. You think it's perfect, but we get screwed over a little bit here in Australia. We get some stuff that's, same as what you see in the review, but a lot of times we don't. And the ones that we do get are like cut back versions, and they're like double the price. And it's like, God damn it. So regularly, do you ever, in my case, see something spec to this, at a retail environment, you're actually able to buy it and get it at a good rate? I mean, it's probably been out for a year, but hey, it's running everything butter smooth, 200 plus frames. In most cases, modern AAAs are well over 120, like 180, maxed out with all the path tracing, ray tracing, all that. So super happy. But yeah, don't be afraid about getting the latest and greatest. Get what you can afford. Know your scope of what you're planning to do with the device, and stick to your guns. You know what you want. You know what you need, and if you stick to those parameters, you will get yourself a great device at a great price. And don't be afraid to haggle, especially if it's 1 or 2 units left. Their plan is to sell them out. They've been tasked, sell them out, clear them out. We need to make room in for the new stuff. We don't want to have them out here anymore. So if you're the only one asking them about that particular unit and you're willing to buy and you've got the body language to do so, and they'll happily do a deal with you. Whether it's marked down, all that excuse. The price on the sticker is never the final price. Haggle them, be tough about it, and get a deal of a lifetime. You deserve it. It's your hard-earned money after all. But yeah, that's pretty much my ramblings in regards to getting the right laptop and doing all that sort of stuff. I've got some accessories and other things that I'm probably going to do reviews on coming up in the year, and games, and giving my thoughts and all that, sort of getting things back rolling again to where they should be. VR and all that, so the consoles, everything. I'll be doing all that sort of stuff again, and now that I have a device that I can comfortably set up with my standing desk and all that I've been working on for the last 6+ months, so pretty happy with the setup. Looking forward to getting back into just making videos about all the stuff I enjoy in the tech space and the gaming space as well. And hopefully you guys enjoy the ride, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated, a share as well. Share it with friends and family, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing if you want to see more content. I plan to do a whole bunch of stuff. Sim racing is probably going to come up in the future, later on in the year. Can't say when exactly, but I've been planning a setup and everything for a while, so that's something else that'll probably happen. So if you're interested in any of that large spectrum of tech content and gaming content, hopefully this is the channel for you. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.